When Qi Ming asks Bai Xiaoan what a playboy like him understands in their hopeless situation, he simply reminds him that he is their leader, so he should consider the feelings of those who trust him. Moreover, Bai Xiaoan tells him the more critical the situation is, the more he needs to stay calm. He even added that he should trust those who believe in him. Not long after, the Red Ape mercenary group's captain and her remaining teammates arrive near the Rainforest Lord's location. When Feng Long asks their captain if she is really going to fight the formidable monster, the captain asks him if he doesn't believe in her abilities. Upon reaching the location of the Rainforest Lord, Qi Ming manages to let them know that they are inside the Rainforest Lord. The captain did not waste any time, and she immediately prepared to dig the Rainforest Lord and rescue the trapped Red Ape mercenary group. She also summons her beast pet, whom she calls Crimson Demon Ape, to do the most incredible skill ever, possession. After that, she jumps from the helicopter head first, aiming to land on the Rainforest Lord. She maneuvers her body to move quickly against the dangerous vines of the monster. Suddenly, her bat unleashes a huge aura that resembles her beast pet. Then, she gets the Rainforest Lord so hard that there's no tomorrow. The impact of the attack slices through the body of the Rainforest Lord, creating a whole passage where the trapped people are. Qi Ming immediately recognizes who caused the red lightning, and just like that, their captain appears before them. The Apocalypse Eye reveals that she is known as Red Monkey or Scarlet Twilight. She owns a Crimson Demon Ape, and she belongs to the Golden Peak realm. She also possesses the talent called Lord of Sinister Thunder, which is a high-damage attack that requires a lot of mana. All of a sudden, Qi Ming activates his crybaby mode and runs toward his big sister. This, however, pisses off his sister, and before he can hug her, she gives her a strong head punch. While her little brother is lying on the floor unconscious, she calls him out on his childish, embarrassing behavior and tells him that he lacks manners. Witnessing that, Bai Xiaoan asks Lao Duan if he is always like that, which he confirms. Soon after, the captain tells them to quickly get on the rope ladder before the Rainforest Lord completely respawns. After they all hang on the rope ladder, Feng Long pulls it up. And just like that, they all manage to get on the helicopter except for their captain, who is still hanging on the rope ladder. Unfortunately, before they get out of that place, the Rainforest Lord has completely respawned, which shocks their captain because the monster has recovered faster than expected. That said, the Rainforest Lord blasts off the rope ladder, causing their captain to fall back into the dangerous situation. Seeing that, Qi Ming freaks out. Luckily, the captain is skilled enough to maneuver her body and dodge the wild vines of the Rainforest Lord. She even uses the monster's vines as a slide. Then, when the falling momentum stops, she uses her evil thunder skill to jump back into the helicopter, leaving the enemy paralyzed with her red thunder. And just like that, she did her epic comeback pose, making everyone admire her skills. She even bid goodbye to the Rainforest Lord, which she calls ugly. Soon after, they quickly left the area. The captain talks to Bai Xiaoan, and she introduces her name as Qi Xiao Xia, also known as Scarlet. Bai Xiaoan also introduces himself to her. At the back of his mind, he wonders if they are related to the Qi family of the Red Wing City. In the same way, the captain asks him if he is from the Bai family of the Bailin City, which Bai Xiaoan confirms. The captain is shocked after hearing that, and she instantly jumps on top of Bai Xiaoan. Scarlet wants to develop plot with him at that very moment, but she holds back because his brother is around, and she is not ready to get into some Alabama moments. She tells him that her job as a mercenary allows her to meet many city lords, and Bai Xiaoan's grandpa is her regular customer. She also tells him that several imposters had tried to deceive them, but none of them succeeded because they fed them to the ferocious beasts. Hearing that, Bai Xiaoan trembles in fear. As Scarlet looks at him closer, he can't do anything but close his eyes and let fear run all over his body. Suddenly, Scarlet moves away and tells him that he seems to be telling the truth. On the other hand, Bai Xiaoan is weirded out by her uncanny behavior. Witnessing all that, Qi Ming freaks out and tells his sister to be careful with Bai Xiaoan. Not long after, Qi Ming asks Bai Xiaoan where Qiu Gubai is. Reality sinks into Bai Xiaoan, and he immediately opens a portal to his royal beast space. Upon entering, he notices a purple web-like crystal stuff and is shocked to see Qiu Gubai at the center. Soon after, Bai Xiaoan comes out with unconscious Qiu Gubai, filled with purple crystal all over her body, shocking the two siblings as what he did is not normal. Bai Xiaoan begs the two siblings to help him save Qiu Gubai. The two siblings call out his action as it is very dangerous to put someone else in a royal beast space. Sasha tells them that the crystal on Chio Gubai's body is similar to a spirit stone. After Sasha's initial checkup, she tells Scarlet that their current equipment won't be good enough to help her. And just like that, Scarlet commands them to go back to the nearest town because the night is about to arrive, and they need to save a life. Elsewhere, at a purple, mysterious place of the spider cult, their leaders gather to have a meeting. They are led by their highest priest, named Solaris. Apparently, she wants to hear their opinion on the recent incident involving Arthur's death. Lilith, the second high priest, cannot believe it, considering Arthur is the sixth high priest. Barrow, the third high priest, wonders if it is the work of a city lord, which is considered by Solaris, as she suspects it to be the work of the giant wood city lord. On the other hand, Mephisto, the fourth high priest, suggests that it could be done by the people from the Moon Veil sect, considering Banana Forest is their territory. While Asmodin, the fifth high priest, remains quiet, Solaris declares that whoever they are going to make them pay. Solaris orders Asmodin to deal with the matter, to which she immediately agrees. Then, Solaris opens up the second agenda in their meeting, which is the future of their people. Solaris burns herself to open a portal where they can see the Queen Spider, who seems to be entering the dormancy state, or what they call Moon Veil state. Lilith claims that after the massacre of Kalamarka, the Queen Spider has entered the Radiant Sun state, so she cannot believe why it is suddenly happening. Solaris agrees with her because even she herself wonders about it. However, she reveals that there are some clues as to why it is happening. She tells the other high priests that it could be related to the celestial phenomena, or it could relate it to the Queen Spider's evolution. Apparently, she is not 100% sure, so she tells them that they cannot afford to be careless. Barrow, on the other hand, suggests sending someone to monitor the Moon Veil sect because they are more likely to search the Queen Spider, which Solaris agrees with. Barrow even added that without the blessing of the Queen Spider, the Moon Veil sect would not be powerful enough to be feared. When the meeting concluded, they do the ending shit like shouting "Long live the Queen" or the overused one for all for one. Moments later, Barrow asks Asmodin if she is available for some plot development, but she tells her that she is not interested in an ugly, disgusting loner like him. Asmodin then asks his headless familiar to leave him alone. Barrow begs to give her a one-night stand, but she tells him that her floodgate won't be satisfied with his small Excalibur. When Barrow asks why she would not give him a chance, she tells him that it is because of his face mask that smells like anime convention. Barrow asks her if she will give him a chance after washing his face mask, but Asmodin tells him that she will think about it. Barrow tells her that he will come back tomorrow, but Asmodin tells him that the mission is her top priority. That said, Barrow left broken-hearted, but Asmodin was only interested in the dagger coon in front of her. As the dawn breaks, the helicopter lands on the nearest town, and Chio Gubai is rushed into the infirmary. She is then put inside a CT scan machine to check her internal organs. Sasha admits to Bai Xiaoan that she is not really sure if her condition is something she can handle. Scarlet, on the other hand, tells him not to lose hope because she knows someone who can help her. Bai Xiaoan looks directly into Scarlet's eyes and asks her to let him meet the person. That said, the two go to the location of the person, but Scarlet reminds him to calm down. Suddenly, the dark aura from Bai Xiaoan's hand starts manifesting, which causes him to hear a voice that urges him to kill. Scarlet asks Bai Xiaoan if he is listening, and Bai Xiaoan tells her that he is. Then, the two reach the location of the person that Scarlet calls Hussein. A symbol of the spider cult is printed behind the cloak of the person, which means the ally she is talking about belongs to the enemies. Upon seeing that symbol, the dark aura inside Bai Xiaoan consumes him completely. Hussein, however, tells Scarlet that she cannot bother him yet because he is eating his favorite ramen. Scarlet explains to Hussein that the friend of the young man he comes with needs help. All of a sudden, the dark aura inside Bai Xiaoan starts controlling his mind. Seeing him in that state, Hussein tells Scarlet that Bai Xiaoan is the one who really needs help. And just like that, the Apocalypse Eye appears in its evil form and urges Bai Xiaoan to kill Hussein. A sudden explosion from the mansion broke the silence of the place. Hussein uses his parkour skills to avoid getting hurt. Despite that huge backflip that he did, his cup noodles was still good to go. A monster whale appears from the explosion, revealing that Bai Xiaoan's beast pet has also been corrupted. Luckily, the beast pet is trapped in the passage of the royal beast's space, causing Hussein to ease off a little. Suddenly, he activated his green aura and uttered his prayer. When the green aura envelops Hussein's body, he begins to whip his sword in a circular motion. Suddenly, a cute humanoid plant-type beast familiar falls on top of his head. Meanwhile, the corrupted beast familiar is trying to come out. That said, Hussein activates his power, and his sword gets enveloped by the same green aura. The corrupted beast pet accumulates a huge amount of water inside its body and unleashes it to cause a huge flood. Luckily, Hussein managed to leap and avoid that water attack. While in midair, Hussein uses his skill Sundown Wind Thunder Fall against the corrupted beast pet. He creates a rotating motion to move closer to the beast pet. Then, with a calm mind, Hussein flicks the horn of the corrupted beast pet with his finger. All of a sudden, a rotating gust of wind pushes the corrupted beast familiar back to its royal beast space. When Hussein goes back to the destroyed room, he sees Bai Xiaoan lying unconscious. Scarlet asks him if he did not overdo it, which he confirms. Bai Xiaoan ends up like dead meat, so Scarlet and Hussein take him somewhere where he can heal from his injuries. Moments later, green liquid is poured down the rectangular casket-like basin where Bai Xiaoan lies unconscious. Soon after, he gains consciousness and sees two human-like beings with frog-like eyes. The young boy named Josh tried to poke the nostrils of Bai Xiaoan, which gave him a hard time breathing. Feeling very uncomfortable, Bai Xiaoan rises up like a boy who wakes up from a nightmare. Bai Xiaoan feels strange about the green liquid. According to the Apocalypse Eye, the liquid is called Nature Essence, which can restore both physical and spiritual energy. Bai Xiaoan wonders what the two beings are talking about because they speak an unknown language. Suddenly, Hussein appears behind him while eating his favorite cup noodles. Bai Xiaoan suddenly freaks out and he immediately stands, exposing his huge Excalibur in front of Hussein. Upon seeing it, the female creature gave Bai Xiaoan a cloth to cover his body. The girl blushed while Bai Xiaoan felt very embarrassed. After wearing the cloth, Bai Xiaoan appears like an Egyptian prince back in ancient times. Hussein leaps like a frog in midair, and the boy throws a stone at Bai Xiaoan's head to call his attention. The girl opens the door, and Bai Xiaoan's jaw drops after seeing what's inside. It turns out that the place is an underground tunnel with an epic architectural design. The girl pulls him and points to him that he should go to the temple. Bai Xiaoan couldn't understand them, so he just followed what their body language was telling him. That said, Bai Xiaoan figures out that she wants him to go to the temple. The girl gave Bai Xiaoan a tiny beast familiar that is called Green Crystal Spider. The girl shows Bai Xiaoan how he can put it in his hand, which he manages to follow properly. Suddenly, the boy uses the Green Crystal Spider and begins doing some spiderweb stunts. Bai Xiaoan figured out its function, and he tried using it himself. Unfortunately, it did not work. The girl explains to her that he needs to pet the beast pet first to gain its trust before he can use its ability. Suddenly, the girl's body is enveloped in a green aura. Meanwhile, Bai Xiaoan is still completely clueless about using it. Luckily, the Apocalypse Eye has revealed to him how to make the tiny beast pet work. Bai Xiaoan did not waste any time, and he tried to connect with the tiny beast pet. When the green aura appears, Bai Xiaoan finds himself glowing in the blue aura while he talks to the spirit of the spider. Bai Xiaoan makes it clear that he doesn't mean any harm, and he only wants to be friends with the beast pet. Then, the Apocalypse Eye notifies him of a new skill acquired called Sympathetic Resonance. Soon after, Bai Xiaoan excitedly uses it and his Spider-Man wannabe moves. When he landed at the temple, his facial expression was like that of a child brought to an amusement park for the very first time. The girl reminds him that the temple is sacred and only those who are invited can go inside. That said, Bai Xiaoan proceeded to go inside the temple all by himself. Bai Xiaoan can't help but think how he is suddenly inside the temple of their enemies. Upon reaching the heart of the temple, he sees the same man standing in front of him. The man formally introduces himself as Albrai Van Hussein, the highest priest of the Moonveil sect. Apparently, he knows what Bai Xiaoan is thinking. Hussein snaps his finger and tells him the tale of their people, which starts with him explaining the home planet of the Aborigines, which humans call the world of the spider's nest. A long time ago, humans arrived in the world of the spider's nest, and they began colonizing. The Aborigines maintained a friendly relationship with humans, and they taught them how to tame beast pets. They even took the humans to their queen spider, whom they call their mother goddess. Not long after, humans' violent and greedy nature was unveiled, and they turned against the mother goddess. However, the mother goddess was a being close to divinity, and taming it was impossible. Due to the intense resistance, the mother goddess was injured and downgraded to amethyst level. The veins of the entire planet were affected, causing great spiritual instability of spiritual energy. Then, the war between the two forces lasted for hundreds of years. Humans almost destroyed everything that belonged to the Aborigines. That said, the remaining survivors tried their best to survive amidst the great disaster wrought by humans. Suddenly, Bai Xiaoan interrupts him because he has not answered his question yet. Hussein moves closer to him and asks him if he wants to be his lover. Bai Xiaoan unleashes his magic, and he tells Hussein that he is not interested in playing with some Shek hunters because he already has enough money. Hussein warns him that if he resorts to violence, the dark aura inside his body will turn his beast familiars into ferocious beasts. That said, Bai Xiaoan calms down and lets Hussein continue his story. Hussein tells him that back then, when he arrived at the holy land of the mother goddess, he saw a young man with his injured beast pet. The man kept apologizing to its beast familiar. That was the first time Hussein saw a man who truly cared about a beast pet, so he helped the man and his beast familiar to recover. Later on, the man managed to live harmoniously with the Aborigines, and he introduced himself as Bai Jingcheng, who is Bai Xiaoan's grandpa and the lord of Bailin City. That said, Bai Xiaoan understood why Hussein helped him. However, Bai Xiaoan is still suspicious of him because he seems way younger than his grandpa. Hussein explains to Bai Xiaoan that Aborigines age very slowly, and he takes him to Qiu Gubai's location. As they walk together, Hussein tells him that Qiu Gubai is lucky enough to survive. Not long after, they reach a place where she lies down on a coffin-like bed filled with Muzin's dream, the blue spider lily. Unfortunately, Hussein reveals to him that Qiu Gubai may no longer wake up. After knowing that, Bai Xiaoan starts worrying about her even more. Hussein tells Bai Xiaoan that there might be a way to help her, but only if he is willing to give it a try. Bai Xiaoan asks him what method it would be, which Hussein explains. Apparently, Bai Xiaoan has to obtain the magical liquid that the mother goddess secreted when she was in her Mu's shadow form. However, entering the tomb where it is kept imposes great danger to anyone who wants to obtain it. He explains that several traps are planted in the tomb, not to mention there are also zombies lurking inside. After hearing all that stuff, Bai Xiaoan can't help but freak out. However, his desire to help Qiu Gubai made him decide to go for it. Hussein is happy because Bai Jingcheng's grandson is quite responsible. Moments later, the two proceed to the tomb where the magical liquid is kept. Upon reaching the entrance, they met two men with spears guarding the tomb. The guard immediately greeted the highest priest, and Hussein ordered them to open the door. When Bai Xiaoan successfully enters the door, Hussein reveals to him that what he said about the tomb was a lie, making Bai Xiaoan feel betrayed. Suddenly, the door closes, leaving him trapped inside. With no other options, Bai Xiaoan decided to obtain the magical liquid. Bai Xiaoan immediately grabs the magical liquid without even scanning it with his apocalypse eye. Out of nowhere, thick smoke appears, and Bai Xiaoan can't see anything at all. Surprisingly, he finds himself in his previous life when he was still a human soldier. In this place, he saw the dead bodies of those he killed. After remembering everything, Bai Xiaoan followed where his previous self went. He saw how he killed his enemies until he reached the last room he entered, where he met his doom. Bai Xiaoan can still feel the exact same feelings upon opening the door. When he opened it, he saw his decayed body and began to feel something weird. Suddenly, a voice inside his head starts talking to him, only to find out that the one talking is his decayed body that stays inside his evil subconscious mind. His decayed body starts attacking him, and the zombie vomits the dark aura that controls Bai Xiaoan's mind. His zombie version wants him dead, too, so he tries reaching for the gun. The zombie starts attacking him, and Bai Xiaoan can barely evade his attack. After trying so hard, he managed to reach for the gun. Then, he pointed it to the zombie's mouth and gathered up his courage to pull the trigger. All of a sudden, everything was engulfed by a bright green light. Bai Xiaoan finally lets go of his past life, and he completely embraces his present life. After that, everything went back to normal, and Bai Xiaoan realized that everything was just an illusion. The good thing is that he got the artifact that contains the magical water. When he comes out, Hussein is quite impressed with him. Bai Xiaoan confronts him for tricking him. However, Hussein tells him that it would not be exciting if he could let him know that he had to in the first place. When Hussein asks Bai Xiaoan about his demon, he remains quiet. He doesn't want him to know that he was a victim of work kun, and that he only got isekai in that world. Bai Xiaoan asks Hussein about Qiu Gubai's condition. Hussein told him that the magical liquid could wake her up and fix his source essence erosion, but it could only be used once. Bai Xiaoan starts contemplating. Out of anger, he suddenly grabs Hussein by the neck and asks him what else he is not telling him. Hussein tells him that he has already told him everything, and he asks him who he will choose. Bai Xiaoan sets aside his personal needs and chooses Qiu Gubai instead. Hussein tells Bai Xiaoan that he needs to penetrate Qiu Gubai's defenses using his artifact and unleash the white liquid inside. Hussein smirks upon seeing Bai Xiaoan's body shake. He points the needle at Qiu Gubai's defenses, but his mind is telling him to pop her big balloons first. All of a sudden, Qiu Gubai laughs because Bai Xiaoan's fingers tickle her. Hussein can't help but laugh at Bai Xiaoan's reaction. Bai Xiaoan gets so mad at Hussein, but Hussein tells him that he was just joking around and it was all Qiu Gubai's idea after all. That said, Qiu Gubai felt very embarrassed when the truth was revealed. Despite being caught in a very awkward situation, Qiu Gubai admitted that it was really her idea. After hearing that, Bai Xiaoan did not dare to argue anymore. Hussein butts in to break the awkwardness between the two and explains that the artifact is actually for Bai Xiaoan. He further explains that by using the magical liquid inside it, he can regulate his dark aura. Although Bai Xiaoan feels unsure, he decides to do it anyway, so he stabs himself with the needle. Suddenly, marks appear on his body and his eyes turn blue-green. The Apocalypse Eye reveals that the treatment module starts loading in his system, and the powerful blue aura starts surging from his body. Just like that, Bai Xiaoan managed to decrease the erosion rate until it reached a tolerable amount. After that, he opens his royal beast space and starts looking for his giant blue whale. Unfortunately, his beast familiar does not appear before him. When Bai Xiaoan asks Apocalypse Eye to help him search the vicinity, a prompt for a new update appears before him. Figuring this out, Bai Xiaoan allowed the update, and suddenly, multiple screens appeared before him, just like when you start updating a new patch in your favorite game. When the update was completed, Bai Xiaoan was surprised that the interface changed. All of a sudden, he felt something behind him, and it was no other than his giant blue whale. His beast familiar is too big, so the water overflowed, and Bai Xiaoan gets washed away by the sea. Upon observing his beast pet, Bai Xiaoan wonders why its form hasn't changed yet. That said, his beast familiar almost crushed him when it parks itself like a boat in a port. The giant blue whale talks to him and starts licking his master's face as if it were a dog under training. Bai Xiaoan is disgusted by its giant tongue, so he immediately asks the Apocalypse Eye to show its diagnostic report. All of a sudden, a bunch of information appeared before his eyes like it was a hacking system from the FBI. After that, Bai Xiaoan figured out that the artifact had dramatically increased Apocalypse Eye's ability. When Bai Xiaoan asks for his own data, the Apocalypse Eye shows him a very detailed report about his level, skills, and talents. However, not everything is good news, for there is a mysterious bar line that appears with his system that acts as a source erosion monitoring scale. When Bai Xiaoan resorts to using his corrupted dark aura, the scale will start loading within a limited time. If he cannot regulate the amount of erosion in his body, he cannot go back to normal anymore. To regulate this, he has to activate the artifact again, and everything will go back to a tolerable state. That said, Bai Xiaoan figures out that the artifact can act as a switch regulator. Nonetheless, Bai Xiaoan is still happy about it because the ability of his Apocalypse Eye has become more useful. While contemplating everything that happened, his ugly, disgusting familiar continues to lick his face as if it were a cute little shih tzu. Elsewhere, Asmodee starts with her research. She finds a crystal-like formation inside Arthur's corpse and decides to take a portion of it to be tested. After that, she puts it in a canister with blue liquid. Inside her lab, you can see that the head of her headless companion, whom she calls Xing Tian, is preserved in a large canister. Asmodee finds the study very interesting, so she tries to dive deeper into it. After that, she asks his headless familiar to bring her the other samples. Asmodee goes to a strange room where there is a huge canister containing what seems like a humanoid beast. Here, she figures out that the one who killed is someone who has the origin of talent. To confirm it, she uses the samples and puts them in another canister. She can find something that belongs to Arthur's killer. After researching all the data she needs, she figures out that the killer possesses the pure yang spiritual power. Asmodee cannot believe what she has found out. All of a sudden, She grins and gets very excited to find the killer. She then moves closer to a canister and tells it that it will wake up very soon. That said, Asmodee commands her headless familiar to look for more clues because she is very much interested in the identity of the murderer. Elsewhere, Scarlet waits for her companions under the sunny sky. Not long after, she notices that they finally arrive. Along the way, Bai Xiaoan and Hussein continue their senseless arguments. Bai Xiaoan insists that Hussein has never been kind to him, and Qiao Gubai seems very tired of their petty talks. Meanwhile, Hussein tells him not to be so harsh because he even calls a ride-hailing service for him. However, Bai Xiaoan knows that he did it only because he wants to have a free ride with them. Qiao Gubai felt irritated with their endless argument, so she decided to cut the crap out of them, leaving the two men shocked. After realizing what she had just said, Qiao Gubai felt very shy, and she apologized for her actions. Scarlet tells them both to get in the car, and the two stop arguing. Scarlet then asks for Qiao Gubai's name, and she tells her that the way she scolded the two immature guys is very cool. When they all ride the car, Scarlet asks why they want to go to the giant wood city. After knowing their answer, she drove the car very fast. Along the way, Bai Xiaoan tells them that he wants to go to the giant wood city to find items to help his grandpa. However, Scarlet tells him that it is not the right time to do it because of the gangs in that city. Then, she drove the car like he was part of the Fast and the Furious movie. Soon after, she tells them the gossip about the lurking zombies around the city. After hearing that, Qiao Gubai suddenly acts strangely, so Bai Xiaoan tries to console her. To his surprise, she was actually very interested to see actual zombies. Bai Xiaoan can't help himself but get weirded out by Qiao Gubai's abrupt change. Not long after, Scarlet tells them that they have arrived at their destination. Bai Xiaoan's eyes grew bigger after seeing the beauty of the place because the giant wood city has literally a giant wood in the middle of the city. Hussein gets out of the car, and the petty talk of these immature guys continues. Scarlet tells the two that they can argue all they want after paying her first. And just like that, Bai Xiaoan is the one who paid for the three of them, which irritates him so much. After that, Scarlet bids them goodbye because she has some commission to look into. Bai Xiaoan noticed that Qiao Gubai wanted to tag along with Scarlet, so he made some hand gestures to let Scarlet know. Luckily, Scarlet was smart enough to understand what he meant. Therefore, she asked Qiao Gubai to tag along with her, which she happily agrees with. Bai Xiaoan ended up being with Hussein, who claims that they are having boys' time. As expected, the two can't stop arguing with each other. Before long, the two have reached Blood's Shadow Bar. Upon entering, the two saw a lady named Xiao Nuan at the bar counter. She has very cute eyes, but her face mask tells us how much of a catfish she is. Upon seeing Hussein, Xiao Nuan immediately asks the bunny girl to bring her the receipt for his unpaid bills. However, Hussein tells her that he brought a new guest with him. Bai Xiaoan, on the other hand, thinks that they are just wasting their time in that place. Suddenly, someone calls Xiao Nuan. Hussein asks her if he knows the caller. Xiao Nuan then tells him that he's just another ugly, disgusting loser that she added on Facebook, who works at Krusty Krab and loves to show his square pants. All of a sudden, all of them heard a loud voice from a guy. This turns out to be the ugly, disgusting loser that Xiao Nuan added on Facebook. He asks Xiao Nuan if she wants him to be her master, and he touches her chin. Xiao Nuan, on the other hand, is unfazed by his actions. Bai Xiaoan did not like the man's behavior, so he decided to help Xiao Nuan. However, Hussein stops him and explains that the girls in that area are not damsels in distress that need to be saved. Suddenly, Xiao Nuan starts spitting personal information about the guy, which shocks him so much. After that, her aura became fierce, and she injected the guy with some sort of liquid solution. The solution is so strong that it instantly affects the guy. Xiao Nuan then reveals to her that what she injected is a liquid that cripples his spiritual veins. After witnessing all that, Bai Xiaoan is extremely shocked, while Hussein is like a father who is very proud of her daughter. Out of nowhere, another voice from a man named Zhen Tian is heard inside the bar, who looks like a serial killer in some American movie. Hussein happily greeted him while the nurse and bunny girl were dragging him out of the bar. Zhen Tian tells him that he is not the one who needs information from him, but the grandson of Bailin City Lord. As Zhen Tian continues to tell information about him, Bai Xiaoan can't help but wonder how on earth he knew that much about him when it was the first time they met. He then revealed that he was the boss of that bar and invited them to take a seat. The bar is known as the Nine States Federation Intelligence Exchange Center. When they continue their talk, Zhen Tian also reveals that he knows he participated in the auction to obtain rare and exotic materials, making Bai Xiaoan wonder again how he knows a lot. After a few minutes of flexing his Google abilities, Zhen Tian finally asks him what information he is looking for. Then, Bai Xiaoan reveals that he seeks the material called spirit-infused heavenly water. All of a sudden, Zhen Tian tells him that he might need that material for the injured Bailin city lord. Once again, Bai Xiaoan is completely dumbfounded by the amount of knowledge he knows. Zhen Tian tells Bai Xiaoan that no walls can keep secrets by deducing the official information provided. He further tells him about the deduction method that can lead to more specific information. After that, he tells Bai Xiaoan that there are unknown people inquiring about Bailin city. Despite being amazed, Bai Xiaoan thinks that he went to that place for the information he needed. Luckily, Hussein butts in and asks where they can find the item. Zhen Tian then tells them that they can find it in the Wind Hell Mountains. However, he also revealed the danger that the place entails. Upon hearing that, Bai Xiaoan asks the Apocalypse Eye about the Wind Hell Mountains. Zhen Tian tells Bai Xiaoan that he doesn't suggest that he venture into that place because it's a very complex terrain, and it is very easy to get lost inside it. Bai Xiaoan thanks him for the information and tells him that he has to go for personal reasons. After paying for everything, the two take their leave, but Zhen Tian warns them about lurking zombies. Zhen Tian confirms to them that it's all true, making Bai Xiaoan think if those legends are true. Then, they exit the bar, ready to move to their real destination. Meanwhile, on the busy night of the giant wood city, Scarlet and Qiu Gubai enter a dark alley. Qiu Gubai and Scarlet discuss the mercenaries' relationship with the police officers. Not long after, the two reach the exact location where they saw the police officers investigating a recent incident. A female police officer named Lao Chen tells Scarlet that she is late for the agreed time, when she tells her that she brought a new face. Scarlet tells her that Qiming drank too much, so she takes the newcomer instead. Out of nowhere, Scarlet points out how Lao Chen's brows and hers are like bean-shaped, giving Qiu Gubai a silly reaction. On the other hand, Lao Chen tells her to get serious. Apparently, there is a corpse of a man who recently died, but the body looks like it was dead for a week. The two were shocked when Qiu Gubai fearlessly went near the corpse. When Lao Chen orders her team to take the body, Qiu Gubai stops her. She takes a tweezer from her arm pouch and plucks something from the corpse. Qiu Gubai tells them that it is a human tooth. When Lao Chen asks her if she is sure, Qiu Gubai tells her that she is absolutely certain. Moreover, Qiu Gubai also tells her that the tooth is severely damaged with some spiritual energy residue. That said, Qiu Gubai confirms to them that the perpetrator is a living corpse like Frankenstein. Elsewhere, a zombie unknowingly stands behind Hussein and Bai Xiaoan. Not long after, the two notice the presence behind them. Suddenly, the zombie drew its sword and attacked the two. To their surprise, there is another zombie who stands on the other side, getting them cornered. Hussein unsheaths his sword and retaliates from the attacking zombie. Meanwhile, the swordless zombie attacks Bai Xiaoan. Thanks to his fast reflex, he managed to dodge the attack. Hussein steps in and cuts the head of the zombie. After that, Hussein commands Bai Xiaoan to quickly exit through the back path, which angers him because he feels like Hussein is looking down on him. Meanwhile, the beheaded zombie attached his head with the use of some sort of magical aura. Seeing their great regenerating ability, Bai Xiaoan starts getting worried. Hussein orders Bai Xiaoan to look for reinforcement, which he agrees to do. Then he told Hussein to meet him at the bar. On the other hand, the two zombies have completely recovered, and they are ready to attack again. That said, Hussein gets serious and starts unleashing his true power. In a not-so-far distance, Bai Xiaoan quickly exits the dark alley, but only to cross paths with another undead creature. Surprisingly, his undead creature has its own version of scan mode, just like Bai Xiaoan, which shocks him a lot. As the enemy scans through Bai Xiaoan's body, it matches what it is programmed to capture. That said, the zombie opens its mouth like as a cast of the anime parasite and unleashes its sonic waves. The attack is so strong that Bai Xiaoan can barely move. As the enemy continues unleashing its sonic waves, Bai Xiaoan falls to his knees and slowly loses consciousness. In the middle of the night, Lao Chen drives her police patrol car along with Scarlet and Qiu Gubai. All of a sudden, Scarlet notices a flying object toward their location. Bada bing bada boom, the falling object crushes on the car. Then, Car-kun finds it as a great opportunity to isekai them all by moving like there was no driver at all. Unfortunately, Car-kun failed because all of them survived the car crash. The two ask Hussein to come down, but Hussein informs them that he cannot do that or the zombie will run away. Hussein knows that the zombie is the key to locating the enemy, so he orders Lao Chen to bring out her tracking device. After attacking the cord to the zombie's nape, Hussein orders Lao Chen to start collecting data about the enemy's hideout. As Chiao Gubai marvels at the actual zombie, Scarlet asks Hussein where Bai Xiaoan is, but he remains quiet. Soon after, Lao Chen managed to locate the enemy's hideout in the Windhowl Mountains. Only then does Hussein inform the two that Bai Xiaoan has been captured, which shocks the two. Somewhere unknown, Bai Xiaoan is unconsciously handcuffed to a wall. Suddenly, his phone starts ringing, which wakes him up. Then he starts wondering where on earth he is and who is calling his phone. When he looks at the handcuffs, the Apocalypse Eye informs him that those are anti-spiritual handcuffs that he cannot break. After knowing that, Bai Xiaoan thought of using brute force to break it instead. That said, he asked the Apocalypse Eye to release his restraint to the soul erosion. With the fully loaded erosion, the dark aura inside his body manifested, and he managed to break the handcuffs with his enhanced brute force. He literally makes lemonade out of the lemon that life threw at him, but he uses the disadvantage to his advantage. Afterward, he decided to call Chiao Gubai so she would not worry too much. Unfortunately, his phone got destroyed after releasing the soul erosion, making Gubai freak out even more since she could no longer contact Bai Xiaoan. Not to mention, he almost forgot to regulate his frenzy status. Luckily, the Apocalypse Eye is there to remind him. That said, he activates the suppression function, and he returns to his normal state. After that, Bai Xiaoan realizes that he is inside a mine. Since the place is a mine, he figures out that he can make a hole in the rock walls by detonating the stone veins with his spiritual power. When he was about to make his first attempt, he was surprised that the wall in front of him started cracking. Suddenly, it exploded right in front of him. When the dust subsided, he saw a familiar girl wearing a pink outfit. Meanwhile, the girl also finds Bai Xiaoan very familiar. It turns out that this girl is Qi Yanni, and she tells him it's been a long time since they saw each other. Bai Xiaoan is very surprised to see her in that area. All of a sudden, Qi Yanni moves closer to him and asks Bai Xiaoan if he is happy to see her, to which he reluctantly agrees. Qi Yanni then senses the arrival of the zombies, so she stops with her chit-chat. 3 zombies appear behind them, but Qi Yanni grins and tells Bai Xiaoan to watch her. Qi Yanni summons her beast familiar, and it starts attacking the enemies. After that, Qi Yanni gets ready to show off her new skills to Bai Xiaoan. She unleashes a pink energy force from her fists, and she leaps in midair to attack the enemies. Bai Xiaoan tries to warn her about the zombie's resilience, but she tells her that she is aware of it. She punches the zombie and leaves some sort of sealing magic on its head. However, the second one manages to sneak behind her, almost killing her. Fortunately, Qi Yanni's reflexes are strong enough to avoid the attack. She then attacks the zombie by giving it a headlock, and she slams its head on the floor, crushing its head with the sealing magic. That leaves her with the last enemy, which happens to be charging in front of her. Qi Yanni fearlessly faces the zombie and crushes its wooden weapon. She then gave it a backward kick and put a mark on its chest. After that, Qi Yanni leaps high in mid-air and moves to the location of Bai Xiaoan. With an impish grin, Qi Yanni tells Bai Xiaoan to keep an eye out for what is coming up next, so Bai Xiaoan puts his attention to her. Qi Yanni then commands her Crimson Wing Crow to do its part. Thus, the Crimson Wing Crow activates its full speed and crushes the zombies by piercing through the marks in their bodies. After that, the zombies started burning, and their regeneration stopped, making Bai Xiaoan wonder what kind of move he had just witnessed. As the zombies start disintegrating in flames, the Apocalypse Eye reveals that the move is called Fire's Departure, which is an elemental decree that can destroy spiritual veins from within. When Bai Xiaoan learns that, she tells Qi Yanni what he just did, shocking her so much because it took her 3 months of researching just to know that. When Bai Xiaoan asks her if she really has been in that place for 3 months, Qi Yanni starts telling her how she ended up in that place. Upon hearing her story, Bai Xiaoan asks her what he ate during those times. Qi Yanni then reveals that she is bringing some energy bars with her, which are good enough for her to last for half a year. Bai Xiaoan asks her if she knows a way to get out of that place, which she denies because the place is like a maze. Qi Yanni revealed that after piercing through the wall, he coincidentally saw him. Soon after, she tells Bai Xiaoan to follow her, to which he agrees. While walking through the hole that Qi Yanni created, the two felt a strong earthquake. Suddenly, a wall appears in front of them, blocking their way out. After that, Bai Xiaoan commands the Apocalypse Eye to scan the area. The place is like a Rubik's Cube wherein the parts can shift position from time to time. Therefore, exiting the area is near to a hopeless situation. Qi Yanni, on the other hand, doesn't care about the wall in front of her. She suddenly unleashes her spiritual power in the form of a drill and starts drilling the walls like a mad woman. Bai Xiaoan is left speechless and thinks that being reckless sometimes works. Suddenly, a wall explodes, which means Qi Yanni and Bai Xiaoan have made it through. However, the place in that area is completely different, for it looks like a laboratory. As they pass through a glass window, Bai Xiaoan sees a huge army of zombies under hibernation. Upon realizing that, his eyes widened in fear. When the two reached a strange door, they decided to go inside it. Here, they saw a strange being inside a huge canister. Bai Xiaoan is horrified after realizing that it is a spirit pet encased inside a ferocious beast. What is more terrifying about this monster is that it has 5 talents. All of a sudden, the two heard a clapping sound, so they alerted themselves. Then, Asmodee welcomes the two that she calls materials. Asmodee is impressed that they managed to reach her place, so the only thing that is left to do is to figure out who possesses the pure yang between the two of them. That said, Asmodee releases the undefined beast to fight the two. Suddenly, the huge canister exploded, and it instantly attacked Bai Xiaoan with incredible speed. Bai Xiaoan summons his beast familiar to tackle the monster. However, the monster has very quick reflexes, so it easily dodges the attack. Bai Xiaoan notices the strange movement of the monster, and he figures out that it is in great pain. He took the opportunity to attack the monster with the help of his beast pet's nether water erosion. The impact created a huge explosion, so Bai Xiaoan thought the fight was over. When the smoke subsides, he is surprised to see that the monster has generated a strong shield. Witnessing its impressive talent, Bai Xiaoan can't help but be impressed by the monster. Meanwhile, the monster uses another talent, which transforms its body into slimy flesh. It attacks Qi Yanni, but as expected, she retaliates the attack. The impact is so strong that a strong force emanates from their fists. Bai Xiaoan tries to warn Qi Yanni, but is too late because the slimy flesh from the monster has started wrapping around her hand. Seeing this, she immediately gets horrified. In just a few seconds, Qi Yanni's whole body is wrapped around the slimy flesh. Bai Xiaoan did not waste any time, and he quickly commanded his beast pet to cut the slimy flesh. Bai Xiaoan helps Qi Yanni remove the slimy flesh around her body. To their surprise, the slimy flesh is still alive even after getting detached from the monster's arm. All of a sudden, the flesh starts moving away from them, making Bai Xiaoan think that recklessness will result in their doom. Meanwhile, the flesh comes back to the monster's arm. With no other options left, Bai Xiaoan decided to resort to using sympathetic resonance and talk to the beast pet inside the monster's body. He told Qi Yanni and his beast familiar not to intervene no matter what happens. Instead, when the monster attacks him, he releases his erosion restraint to activate his rampage mode. But he only uses the force from this state to strengthen his precise block, making Asmodee feel very disappointed because she wants to witness more action. Asmodee then realizes that Bai Xiaoan doesn't possess the pure yang because he has a water system instead of fire. Moreover, she also figures out that Qi Yanni doesn't possess the pure yang either. The monster attacks again, and Bai Xiaoan prepares to block the attack again. When he finds the perfect opportunity, Bai Xiaoan grabs the head of the monster and performs sympathetic resonance. The spirit of Bai Xiaoan enters the consciousness of the monster, and he sees the spirit of the beast pet called Rubber Monkey. Bai Xiaoan goes near the beast pet and tells it that he means no harm. He tells the beast pet that he wants to share its pain by making a pact with him, to which the beast pet willingly agrees. When Bai Xiaoan removed his rampage mode, the monster did not attack him, which surprised Asmodee. After that, he unleashes his spiritual energy, and a magic circle is formed to complete their contract. Upon the completion of the contract, the spirit of the Rubber Monkey is released from the restraints. The beast pet felt finally free, and Bai Xiaoan extended his hand to his newly obtained beast familiar. That said, the Rubber Monkey started breaking the spell of Asmodee, and the three reacted differently to what was about to happen next. A powerful aura unleashes when the rubber monkey completely breaks free. Then, all of them put their guards on so they wouldn't be taken by the strong gust of wind. Seeing her plan not working in her favor, Asmodee decided to destroy the rubber monkey instead. Bai Xiaoan tells her that he won't allow that to happen. However, the headless monster of Asmodee already proceeds to attack the rubber monkey. The beast pet does not falter and prepares to intercept the monster's attack. When Bai Xiaoan commands Giant Blue Whale to help, the rubber monkey stops him from doing so. The beast familiar tells its beast master to let it fight alone. Apparently, Asmodee kills his whole clan just to complete her experiments. That said, the rubber monkey wanted to seek revenge. All of a sudden, the beast pet transforms its arms into slimy flesh, and it alters the property of the flesh into hard, sharp bones that pierce through the body of the headless giant. Then, it uses its strength to throw the giant on the wall of the facility, causing it to destroy the wall completely. Afterward, the beast pet unleashes all its magical power and prepares to attack Asmodee. Asmodee, on the other hand, is not fazed at all because she is the honorable fifth priest of the spider sect. Suddenly, Qiani saw an approaching army of undead ready to end their lives. In an instant, Bai Xiaoan and Qiani are surrounded by the zombies. Nonetheless, the rubber monkey doesn't seem to care at all because she clears the zombies that come in its way. Bai Xiaoan and Qiani struggle to fight the zombie armies. Qiani is unable to use her special skill due to the high number of enemies. That said, Bai Xiaoan is left with no other option but to do it himself. He unleashes his rampage mode and uses the dark aura inside its body at maximum level to perform the evil deed, Spirit Speed. Giant Blue Whale became like a missile at full speed while making the enemies with the sealing mark. After sealing them all, Bai Xiaoan unleashes the final blow called Evil Deed, Incantation. Asmodee could not believe her eyes to see that her undead army was wiped out instantly. Bai Xiaoan, on the other hand, is happy with the outcome of his risky action. The rubber monkey took the opportunity to penetrate Asmodee's defenses from behind. However, the headless giant appears just in time to block the attack, shocking the rubber monkey. With his arm stuck inside Xing Tian's body, the rubber monkey cannot move away. That said, the beast pet cannot avoid the strong punch from the headless giant. To avoid further damage, Bai Xiaoan asks its giant blue whale to catch the rubber monkey. Asmodee admires her creation's ability, but since it is not useful for her, she wants to destroy it no matter what. When Asmodee activates her real destruction program, the whole terrain changes. Meanwhile, Scarlet and the others arrive at the location, witnessing how the terrain shifts drastically. Bai Xiaoan destroyed the ceiling of the laboratory and saw the real exit. Then, they all successfully come out and reach the outermost surface. Soon after, Scarlet's car arrives, and they see Bai Xiaoan. Qiao Gubai felt very happy when she saw her young master safe and sound. Seeing her cry, Bai Xiaoan felt bad. Right away, Qiao Gubai hugs him, and the two blush together. Bai Xiaoan and Qiao Gubai immediately go back to their awkward moments after a few seconds. Meanwhile, Qiani and Scarlet start throwing shade at each other. They both belong to the bloodline of the Qi family, but they are members of different family branches. Hussein tells the two ladies to set aside their family conflicts because they are in the face of bigger trouble. Suddenly, they saw an army of upgraded monsters, and they were ready to devour them. They have no other choice but to fight their enemies. Unfortunately, Bai Xiaoan lacks the spiritual power to perform another evil deed, Incantation. The good news is that these types of zombies don't have regeneration abilities, so normal physical means can work against them. All of a sudden, Lao Duan arrives with his big machine gun and starts showering the enemies with his enhanced bullets. The zombies fall one by one before their eyes, but Scarlet tells them that their delivery is a bit slow, so she gives them a bad review. Qiming tells his sister that their delivery comes with a free ride, so he should give them a 5-star review. As the helicopter prepares to drop the rope ladder, Asmodee arrives. She then orders her gigantic Xing Tian to destroy the helicopter. Seeing the huge hand approaching them, Qiming pees on his pants. Xing Tian managed to destroy the tail of the helicopter, and they had to do an emergency landing. Witnessing that, Scarlet becomes worried for her younger brother and wonders what is going on. Asmodee appears right before them, riding the giant Xing Tian, and orders Xing Tian to begin the execution. Apparently, Xing Tian is at its peak level, so its size has become even more enormous. Witnessing another giant enemy, Bai Xiaoan tells Asmodee that she really loves big things like his big stick. Meanwhile, Qi Ming and his team survive the crash landing and join them. Bai Xiaoan tells Scarlet to check on Qi Ming and leave the giant to him because he is well experienced in handling giants. However, Hussein tells him to wait because he cannot face Asmodin alone. Seeing Hussein get so serious for the first time, Bai Xiaoan realizes that they are facing a real deal. Hussein explains to him that Asmodin is already at diamond level. It turns out that Selena Asmodin is one of the infamous Asmodin siblings among the Aborigines. Hussein further explains that Xing Tian is actually Asmodin's brother. When his brother gets beheaded and dies in the battle, Asmodin uses a forbidden technique to refine the corpse of his brother. Seeing Xing Tian attacking them, Hussein uses his divine shield to protect them from getting crushed. After witnessing that power, Asmodin figures out that Hussein is with her enemies. Hussein uses his skill called manifestation, which creates a spiritual hand that goes against Xing Tian. Unfortunately, the enemy manages to avoid it. Bai Xiaoan wonders what he just witnessed, so he asks the Apocalypse Eye what skill Hussein used. It turns out that it is called manifestation, which can materialize parts of the spirit beasts. Bai Xiaoan further learned that the skill is a golden level exclusive skill. Meanwhile, Asmodin knows that she cannot slack off, so she decides to go all out. That said, Asmodin orders Xing Tian to use weaponization. Xing Tian suddenly pierces its own stomach, and it unleashes an axe-like spiritual weapon. Qi Ming is grossed out from what he just witnessed and wonders what it is. Xing Tian strikes its weapon against Hussein, but Hussein blocks it with his manifestation. Xing Tian is strong, but Hussein is on par with its strength. Hussein also gives his all, and he uses more manifestations techniques, which shocks Asmodin. After Hussein manages to lift Xing Tian, he commands Bai Xiaoan to attack it with the help of his beast pets. The two beast pets perform an attack called Lunar Celestial Reversion. Launching their attacks together, they manage to amputate both arms of Xing Tian. Then, Hussein uses his wood spirit Wind Bind to leap high in midair. Hussein launches himself like a missile using his skills, Sweeping Gale and Thunderquake, piercing through the body of the giant monster. Qiao Gubai and Qi Yanni are both left dumbfounded by the immense power they have witnessed. Afterward, King Tian's body starts disintegrating. Hussein stands in front of Xing Tian's body and wishes it to rest in peace. It is then revealed that Xing Tian's real name is Layer Asmodin. Bai Xiaoan wonders if the fight is already over, but Asmodin is not ready to raise her white flag yet. Suddenly, Hussein's sword appears in front of her. Hussein commands her to stop because he doesn't want to harm his own people. After hearing that, Asmodin laughs and questions his statement. It is then revealed that Hussein is the one who cuts off his brother's head, so she considers him a traitor. A strong protective blue aura appears around Asmodin, pushing Hussein backward. Asmodin insists to him that the moment he joined the Moon Shadow tribe, he already betrayed his own people. After that, her magic completely revives Xing Tian. Bai Xiaoan knows that reviving Xing Tian means great trouble, so he asks the Apocalypse Eye what has just happened. It turns out that Asmodin has a talent called Undead Space, which can kill and reborn living creatures, turning them into undead. Bai Xiaoan then figures out that she used that talent to recreate Xing Tian. That said, he needs to find a way so they can all survive. The rest of the team continues to fight the undead armies by all means. Qi Ming figures out that they are all connected to Asmodin, so he orders Feng Long to shoot her, which he follows. With a very accurate calibration, Feng Long shoots Asmodin. Unfortunately, she easily blocks the bullet like an egg that is blocked by an umbrella. Asmodin wonders why her armies haven't obliterated the small insects yet. Nonetheless, she commands Xing Tian to erase the existence of Qi Ming first, making him pee on his pants for the second time. A concentrated blast of undead energy is launched against Qi Ming. However, an unknown person blocks it just in time. The person asks Qi Ming if he is alright, making Qi Ming wonder who he is. Immediately, Qi Ming recognizes his voice, and it is no other than Bai Xiaoan with his possession skill with Giant Blue Whale. Asmodin doesn't like his presence, so she orders Xing Tian to crush Bai Xiaoan with its gigantic foot. However, Bai Xiaoan is completely unfazed. Before getting stomped on, Bai Xiaoan leaps from mid-air at very fast speed, leaving everyone in awe. Hussein then realizes that he merges with his beast familiar. Meanwhile, Bai Xiaoan is very much ready to crush Asmodin, but when he is about to land his attack, Asmodin uses manifestation to stop him. Hands appear, and they put Bai Xiaoan into a defenseless position. Asmodin praises his possession talent. and he starts touching Bai Xiaoan while grinning like she wants something else. Soon after, Asmodee materializes an axe and she strikes it directly to Bai Xiaoan's head. The impact is so strong that Bai Xiaoan crushes down like an energy blast. Luckily, his head has become really hard after possessing the giant blue whale. Suddenly, Bai Xiaoan heard his beast familiar talking to him. After the giant blue whale offers him some help, Bai Xiaoan gets very surprised as he thinks that the erosion has made his beast familiar and ugly, disgusting moron. Apparently, the giant blue whale can regain its sanity under possession. That said, his beast familiar made him realize that he has a latent ability to overpower those who are way stronger than him. Bai Xiaoan rose up and decided to be the greatest Giga Chad in the world of the spider's nest. He then uses his spiritual energy to materialize his sword, and it works. Hussein is very shocked to see how Bai Xiaoan did all that, considering his actual level. It turns out that Bai Xiaoan can perform the skills that only Beastmasters at Diamond level can do. Bai Xiaoan asked the Apocalypse Eye to check his status, and to his surprise, he is at the Diamond Peak level. It is also revealed that he can use some epic skills using the materialized sword. That said, Bai Xiaoan prepares his battle stance, activates his spiritual speed, and infuses it with torrents. Then, he performs Spiritual Speed Torrent, which allows him to leap high in midair. Asmodee immediately commands Xing Tian to kill him, but Bai Xiaoan delivers a netherwater erosion new flow that Xing Tian endures so much. Asmodee laughs because she knows that Xing Tian's body has become way tougher than before. However, Xing Tian starts growling in pain. Suddenly, Bai Xiaoan appears behind Asmodee, but she notices it, and she manifests undead souls to attack Bai Xiaoan. Fortunately, Bai Xiaoan managed to destroy them using his spiritual sword. Asmodee manifested a strong undead soul with sharp claws and attacked him. Bai Xiaoan tells her to move on from her past, but she refuses to listen and continues the attack. Bai Xiaoan tells him to stop acting like a lonely, ugly, disgusting loser because achieving her goals will only cause her more pain. Asmodee cannot take what he is saying anymore, so he jumps over him, ready to cut his throat. However, Bai Xiaoan cannot afford to lose either, so he retaliates the attack. Asmodee's anger is getting out of hand, and she puts the blame on Hussein's tribe. She went berserk and attacked Bai Xiaoan mercilessly, causing him to lose balance. Xing Tian prepares a strong energy blast, and just like that, the headless giant delivers Sundowner Cloud Cannon Blast. Asmodee tells Bai Xiaoan that she will enjoy studying his corpse. However, Bai Xiaoan managed to leap in mid-air just in time using his spiritual speed torrent. After that, he backflips and successfully escapes his doom, which irritates Asmodee so much. Bai Xiaoan tells her that he already died once, so she cannot kill him because no one can kill the dead. Bai Xiaoan uses his Moonlight Return Falling Moon against Asmodee, which is very effective, however. Bai Xiaoan is not done yet because he followed his attack with another powerful blade strike. The impact causes an explosion, and Bai Xiaoan delivers his finishing blow like an energy blast towards the ground. When Bai Xiaoan landed on the ground, Xing Tian struck him with the spiritual axe. Bai Xiaoan is completely unfazed, and he prepares to deliver the Mirror Stops water defense. Then, Bai Xiaoan whips his sword like he is performing a breathing style. That said, he simultaneously performs Mirror Stops water and Moon in the Lake techniques. When Bai Xiaoan turns his back to Xing Tian, the body of the headless giant is cut into two. Asmodee feels so mad at Bai Xiaoan for making her feel like a loser after many years. That said, she tells him that it is not over yet. On the other hand, Bai Xiaoan points the sword at her, ready to isekai her if she acts recklessly. Asmodee brings out Dagger Kum to hit Bai Xiaoan's sword, and she charges forward to stab him. However, his beast pet takes control, and it maneuvers her hands at the last second to stab herself instead. Soon after, the yellow thingy comes out of her body. Then, a huge yellow bump on her grows bigger, like a baby is about to pop out. Suddenly, the yellow bump explodes and an unknown man emerges from her back bump, making Asmodee's body completely disappear.